I've got 6 topsoil bags that I purchased actually at Walmart earlier this last week, and there they sit. They haven't gone back to all the holes when I was digging up all the fruit trees this past week. Hey, I'm out here in our garage at the moment, and I'm going to give you a quick showing of some of the trees and bushes that I planted in the front. Please excuse the overgrown grass and weeds. I have not gotten on my zero-turn lawnmower to manicure this property yet because of the rains. It's just like every time I want to get ready to do something in the yard here in northeastern Tennessee, something happens, and so today we probably won't have any more rain until tonight. Then it's supposed to come in heavy again, and today is March the 8th. So what I'm going to show you is with what I've done in the front and where we are growth-wise. I thought it would be interesting to show this now, being March the 8th, and then let's take a look at it like later, like next month, and you can see nature's gift of growth. So anyway, so here we go, okay? So bear with me. Okay, the first thing I want to show you I have planted 3 blueberry bushes along the driveway. Now these things are just beginning to bud out, as you can see. I won't go to every one, but I guarantee you that each one is doing the same thing. And also on the other side here on our front property. It's exciting because I wanted to line the entrance to our home here with something that would be unique, but why not make it edible at the same time? You can, this bush as an example here will grow to 6 feet, and it can get pretty big, but you can manicure it, you can trim it, you can shape it, you can do whatever you want to do, and it's beautiful when it blossoms. We're going to see that this year, hopefully, and hopefully it will bear fruit. And why not have more blueberries? Okay, that's my philosophy. Okay, so going over here, this tree right here is oak tree, and I had to transplant it at the front of the house there. Like there's one area that it used to be at. The other one was right over here, way too close to the front of our home. So I didn't want to kill it. See that tree over there, that humongous monster? It's these are the baby versions of that mega oak tree over there, but that thing is decades old. These are only 2 years old. So there's the other oak tree right over there. You can see it, and all the branches are new growth is coming out all over this. So they survived the transplant is what I'm trying to say. I risked, each one of these trees were over $70 when I bought it. And I was wondering what's going to happen. I'm going to, transplant it for the future because I made a mistake in the beginning. And well, it seems to be surviving. Here is a walnut tree, an English walnut tree, and it is alive. And this is going on its 3rd year in the ground here, as we're entering into our 3rd year on this property. We are in a subdivision, so I don't have tons of acreage here or whatever. I'm having to deal with what we have until we can buy some more land. And this is a chestnut tree, and you probably can't tell, or maybe you can, but this is flexible, it's not dead. And actually there's some new growth about ready to come out on this, so it's alive. I didn't have to dig that one up, but I did have to dig up the one that was over by the wooden fence over there, just in front of that fence. You can't tell where it was at, but trust me, it was near the wooden fence there. I dug it up, and so I'm bringing it over to the other side of the property, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay, I'm on the other side of the property, and here's another one of our blueberry bushes here, and you can see some of the new growth there. There's two others. Believe me, I will get this thing manicured and it will look really nice, hopefully the next time I videotape in the front here. So here's the other chestnut tree, and it's alarming to me a little bit, but you know what? It's alive, and it looks like new growth is coming out on it. So I'll update you on that. This one was a little bit precarious, and I was a little bit scared about it because it's another $60, $70, $80 tree when I purchased it. You hate to see something like this not survive, but I'll give you an update on that later. Believe it or not, these are hazelnut trees. I could trim that down to one stem so it would come up like a tree, or you can grow it as a bush. It's all alive. It's got new growth just popping out all over. Again, today's the 8th of March. This is another hazelnut tree. I know it doesn't look like much, but it will be much. Okay, this is a transplanted black apple tree that I transplanted last week, and it's got new growth on it. It survived. You can see where I had dug and transplanted it. These are Barclay pears, fruitless Barclay pears. They're all blossoming. The original owner of this house had planted these three Barclay trees to provide shade to this side of the house here. And oh, by the way, this is a huge garden bed, flower bed that the previous owner had done. I'm going to trim back all of those flowering bushes. I'm not going to dig them up, but I'm going to make sure that they don't overgrow. I'm going to clear out the weeds. I might even do some garden beds in here, but I'll make it look nice. It's one of my projects in the next several weeks coming down the pike. So I showed you the black apple tree, which is really small. This is a Golden Delicious that I had over there behind the fence on our acreage in the back of our property, and it was already 2 years in the soil, and I dug it up and I brought it out here in the front so it will have more freedom and not be so close to the leach field. So these apple trees were close to the leach field in the back of our property where the leach field is located, and they probably would have been okay, but psychologically the thought of roots getting near the leach field didn't excite me, nor did it excite one of our neighbors. So that's a Golden Delicious, and then this is also supposedly another Golden Delicious, though I questioned that because last year the leaves on this Golden Delicious tree were totally different than the leaves on that Golden Delicious. So let's see what happens, if it even blossoms or not blossoms, but it's alive. At least we'll get leaves on it again. Hopefully there'll be some blossoms on it this year. So I'm going to show you now with some of the back. Okay, here's a muscadine grape. It's about 3 or 4 years old, and it was planted by the original owner of this house. And when we moved here 2.5 years ago, I dug it up because it was planted way over there on the other side of our back fencing near those pine trees on the other side. And it was just wild. It was uncontrollable. It was getting huge and nobody was taking care of it or anything. So I dug it up and I brought it over here. And last year I trained it so it would go up to the lattice that I created from some tomato lattice metal things to prop tomato vines onto, and I created a lattice going clear around patio here, and on in the front of the patio to the other side, and all the way down to the other end of the house. And so and this thing is totally alive, and I'm excited. I love muscadine grapes, and I can hardly wait. So, and then I planted some Thompson seedless and some, oh, I can't remember the name of the other grapes, but there's like a couple grapevines at the corner there, and another couple grapevines at the other end, and they are going to go ballistic this spring around around our patio. It's going to, not only will it enhance the appearance and beautify the patio this spring, but it's going to produce this year. I'm believing it will. We had two Thompson seedless bunches on this grapevine last spring, and that was it, because I was training the plants to go up onto the lattice. Okay, so this is the Granny Smith that I trimmed about a week and a half ago. I took off a lower branch that was protruding right there, okay? And from that lower branch, it was sticking all the way up on the side, and I didn't want that. I didn't want something like that growing down at the base and taking the nutrients out of the apple tree. So I chopped it off, but then I cut those 4 stems and I transplanted it in the vase that I filmed earlier, just moments ago. And it appears that they may survive the transplant. So here are some elderberry bushes, and there's new growth right there, and looks like new growth is coming out on this one too. So they go dormant during the winter, and I'm seeing new growth, so they have survived. This is embarrassing to show you, but this is my blackberry, raspberry, and blueberry garden that I'm gonna drape some of that plastic breathable tarp thing on each side so the weeds won't come up. I'm gonna make it so there's no weeds on both sides of this, so hopefully it will look really nice. That is my game plan. Here you can see some of the holes where the apple trees were located. I have yet to fill that in. I haven't done it yet because of the weather. And those 2 golden delicious trees I showed you were right here, and no more. This is a persimmon tree that died. I thought it died, but somehow it survived, and then it grew a brand new branch. So this persimmon tree is the type that the persimmons are like an apple, and they're sweet and they're small. And if this thing does continue to grow and mature, we will be very blessed by its fruit. Okay, then this is a plum tree. It's beginning to blossom. Awesome. This is the Santa Rosa plum. It's above the leach field. By the way, and I've mentioned this before in my other videos, this is another plum tree here. I don't see any blossoms on it, but I do see a lot of leaves that may not want to blossom. I don't know. This is a different plum tree, and this is a Methley plum tree, okay? And it's alive, so we're doing well on those. I trimmed all the branches that you can see perhaps where I hacksawed these lower branches to open up all of this. This goes out about another 10 to 12 feet, and this is actually our property still. And there's so much that we can do up here. I would like to make it very nice and eventually take out this wooden fence and put it all the way to the barbed wire fence there that belongs to the farmer, as the Black Angus cows come right up to our property here. Very entertaining. And I'm gonna show you these 4 trees that I transplanted, dug up and transplanted here. This is our nectarine tree, fully beginning to blossom. Isn't that awesome? This is And of course, we're getting an Arctic blast this coming Saturday. This is a peach tree and it's beginning to blossom. Just breathtaking to me. The blossoms are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. The next two trees they're both peach trees. I planted. Look at the size of this one already. It's only two and a half years old, and look at it. I am going to drape it with cloth between Thursday and Friday before the Arctic blast hits us. And this is another gorgeous peach tree that's going to about explode with blossoms. And I might as well show you right here. This is one of our very mature blackberry bushes, and it's all coming out with new growth. And I have a bunch of wild blackberries that I captured before they built the house right there. It had wild blackberries in the front dirt, and where it was just an empty lot, and I salvaged those and I planted them here. I'm going to clean all of this up. Okay, that's my future project. And I've got two cherry trees I'm going to show you in a second here. Okay, so here is one of our cherry trees. It's an early Richmond cherry tree, and it's got protruding new growth about ready to explode on it. It survived last year, and it's gotten a little bit, I can tell it's grown a little bit. Doesn't look like much, but it's alive. And hopefully it will continue to grow and mature, and hopefully it will bear fruit. And this is a Bing cherry tree right here, and it has a lot of what appears to be new branches and growth yet to come out here. So I'm excited about that. Everything that you're looking at across over there is the leach field underneath all the grass and the weeds that you're looking at. That's why I had to dig up all of those peach trees I just showed you. And here's where they used to be. And I need to fill that back up and reseed it with grass. And there's two other locations there. And so, got my work cut out for me. It's just me and myself. If I can get Ida to help me, it's awesome, but she works all day and I'm here all day. So here is our Bartlett pear tree. This is the first year ever that it's blossomed. And of course it blossoms just before the Arctic blast hits us. So I'm gonna cover it with a sheet between Thursday and Friday. Hope to God that even though it's gonna get down into the 20s and into the single digits maybe, that's what they're saying, it will somehow survive. Who knows? That's the risk of living in northeastern Tennessee if you want to do fruit trees. And this thing is about ready to explode. I can't tell if those are if those are leaves or are they to be blossoms. I wonder if they're to. I can't tell yet. This is embarrassing. I'm supposed to know this stuff, but I've had that tree there that's blossoming. That is a Bartlett. It's a Kiefer pear tree. We used to have those in Texas, and oh, they were absolutely delicious. This one is a fruiting Bartlett pear. That's what it's saying, and you're seeing what I'm seeing. I still have the original tag, and this tree has been in the ground for going on 3 years now. They said to cut the tops of a pear tree off a little bit, and it will inspire it to blossom and fruit out. So that's what I did last year, and sure enough, that one for the first time is blossoming. So I'm still waiting on this one to see if these are going to be blossoms or are they just leaves. We will know. We will find out. Well, as many of you know, you know that I have 45 eggs in the incubator, so I'm hoping, if I could get at least half of those or just a few of them to hatch, that would be awesome. I've never hatched quail before, or even chickens or anything like that. but we want to raise quail for eggs in particular, but possibly for meat also. I'm sure that will probably do that. Don't like the thought of going that direction, but you know what? We buy chicken in the stores, right? But it has to be processed somehow. That's part of being a homesteader, a farmer. That's just part of life. But anyway, so I've already built the brooder. That's where you put the chicks in once they hatch, after they hatch and they dry off. And once all of them have pretty much have hatched, then you put them in the brooder so they can keep warm and begin to feed and drink water, that whole scenario. And so that will probably be done inside that bedroom for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And then the cage that I also put together from Hatching Times, hatchingtimes.com, the cages are just incredible, and I'm excited because I like a clean environment, and I want to be able to clean those things so you don't have to smell the stench of the birds, and easy to clean. And so Hatching Time seemed better than going to a wired metal type of cage for me personally. Everybody to each their own. There's another company that competes with Hatching Times, and they build all these incredible metal cages. Maybe at some time in the future I might experiment and get a couple of their cages, but right now I'm sticking with the ABS plastic. And so because I can handle that where we're at here on the homestead. So I want to get a greenhouse. Let me put it this way, I would like to have a greenhouse because I'm realizing the importance of starting seedlings in the spring and how important it is to grow your own food and be self-sufficient. So this is extremely important. I've never done that before. And but I've always had an interest in fruit trees, so that's why I named our homestead the Fruits and Berries, because that's what it is. But then because of what's happening in our nation and what's happening in the supermarkets and stuff, we're all used to just going to the Walmarts and the grocery stores, the Albertsons and all these other Food City and all wherever you live in the United States. But what happened if that was taken away? If not taken away, diminished on purpose. Let me just put it that way. I don't want to get into politics here, but it's very frustrating. So it's wise. Wisdom says to prepare as quickly as possible. And even if things do change, which I hope they do, and things can get back a little bit to normalcy, I'm still going to proceed in this direction. Never again do I ever want to have to wonder, will we have water? Will some stupid politician threaten to cut off our water supply? Or will they threaten to kill you, or will they threaten you with whatever? I don't want to deal with that. So anyway, as a patriot, that's where I'm at. Anyway, so going back to the greenhouse, there's one for $4,000. That's like a shed, but it's got windows all around it, and it's incredible. It looks gorgeous. And if that's the case, I have to haul that thing in, and then we'd have to put cedar blocks underneath because that slopes down. Or I go right over here where I put all this red lava rock here that I need to clean this up a little bit. But by the way, that's the other muscadine grape plant right there. And as you can see, I'm trying to train it up to go on the lattice for the grapes there. So, and it will. It's alive. And once it can touch it and reach to it, I'll be a happy camper, okay? But this area right here, I'm thinking about getting a 6x8 temporary type of a greenhouse that Amazon sells. Home Depot and Lowe's, I think, do similar type of things. It's a pop-up tent basically, but it's like a impromptu greenhouse. And so I'll buy some walking blocks for a foundation, level it out, and to prop that thing on there so I can keep some certain type of plants in that until we can get more of a permanent greenhouse going, and possibly bring the, assuming I have quail, assuming they hatch and they're in the cage, I can roll out the quail cage and bring it out into so they can be outside, but yet protected. So all of that is in the thought process and in the works, and I am about all that we're doing here. I got a lot of work because it's just me and me alone, and this is a half an acre, so it's not very big, but it's big enough when you're one person dealing with all the things that I've showed you, and to make sure that everything stays alive and that it grows. It's trimmed and fertilized, and you hopefully the game plan is to have a harvest of any of this. I mean, think about it: apples, plums, peaches, berries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries. How about some garden beds in here? Here's pretty lava rock, but what if I put, an 8x3 garden bed, raised garden bed there, and grow some veggies, and even do it on the other side, or do it right over here. Get maybe 1 or 2 garden beds going right here next to the house, while I have some apple trees growing right there, and some fruitless Bartlett trees that are going to look gorgeous as they continue to bloom and leaf out this spring. So that is the game plan, and that's what I'm doing, and I will do my y'all to try to videotape as much as I can, and deal with the weather as we... Is that gate locked? Yeah, the gate's locked. Arkham, our German Shepherd, and Champ, our Australian Shepherd, they're inside the house. They are always out with me, and so, but I just couldn't have them out because I wanted to make this videotape and get this uploaded this morning. So to show that at least I'm trying to do something here to get some uploads. It's just, the weather is just causing a lot of delays with a lot of this stuff, and then I have to go the extra step to protect. I mean, the fruit trees, they have no idea an Arctic blast is about ready to hit us. and so they're just like, hey, it's warming up. It's 60, it's 70 degrees. I'm going to blossom, So the trees begin to blossom, as you saw, and then you get 20-degree weather, below 30. It could kill the blossoms, and especially if they start to fruit, it will kill the fruit. And you have no harvest at all for an entire season. I'm hoping to avoid that. Lord, please let us this year have a harvest of something. I'm working so hard. I hope something will happen here. I'm really trying. Okay. So anyway, it's been nice. It's been fun chatting with you this morning, and hopefully you'll hang in there with me. And thank you for those of you that are hanging in there with Fruits and Berries, a Small Tennessee and Homestead. And believe me, I think about y'all all the time, and I know you're probably wondering, oh, he's not videotaping, he's not doing anything. Believe me, I am. Sometimes I just have to do what I have to do, and I'm not able to tape it at the moment. But I understand that. But again, I'm trying. Okay, so please subscribe if you haven't, and hang in there with us as we continue to move forward this spring to deal with the weather and to deal with the planting and the raising of future baby quail, and I will continually update you on their progress, hatching progress. I hope they hatch. This is scary. I feel like I'm a pregnant father. No. Forget it. But I'm the father of the quail, so I better make sure that they survive somehow. Okay, take care and God bless, okay? And until the next one, bye-bye.